Hey guys, Mr. Cochrane here again. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more today about users and user research. So you might have an idea about some users and you've probably got a rough idea of your project and you're sort of like starting to think about your users. But now it's time to actually find out some more about them. So what are some of the ways that you guys could go about doing this? You could ask them. Sure, that's a great idea. You can just straight up walk out of here, go see one of your potential friends and just be like, hey, how do you think this would go? Or what do you think about my project for this reason? This is a fantastic way to get the information straight from your users. But this could actually take some time. So maybe you could get like a group of people together. You could create like sort of a focus group and you could ask them all at once. You could go digital and get an online survey, and this is a nice digital solution to be sure. But what about some of the users that you don't sort of readily have access to, or maybe live too far away, or you have no idea how to contact them? So you could ask like principals in nearby schools, you could always canvass the town every day after school, call up businesses and households, that sort of thing. But again, this takes a lot of time. You could say form a council of elders or like a focus group where you sort of choose maybe a member of the business community, a member from school, a student, a teacher, your parents, some random person. You try and like mix the sort of people together and then you could ask those people. That's a really good way of sort of getting a bit of an idea from a lot of different types of people about what they kind of think about your project or your product or whatever it is. Sort of tapping into that user's knowledge. You also want to spread out the ages if you're going to do that. You want young and old, male, female. You just don't want to have all 15-year-old girls because they're going to give you one type of answer versus 15-year-old girls and boys and 40-year-old men and 30-year-old women and grandparents and mums and dads, all that sort of stuff. They think about things different and different things matter to different people. All of these are like ways you can tap into your users, but there are other ways. So one of those is census.gov.nz. This is the national census, so the government every sort of so many years, they ask everyone in New Zealand, wherever they are at a particular point in time, to answer a whole bunch of sort of questions about themselves. And this information and data is freely available to all. So this is like sort of how many people live in Waihe. What sort of jobs do they do? What's their income level? Like how much are they actually looking at different things and different subjects? And it's quite an extensive sort of survey and one run at national level, which is really helpful. A lot of businesses tap into this resource and it's a great place to get a whole bunch of like factual information about what's sort of in your area. You could Google search population info, you could check out websites, you could install tracking software and a free game you created and mine your users' data and statistics while they play illegally. All of these are different ways of going about getting data from your users. It becomes really important to think about like why and what sorts of information you're trying to get from them. You just don't want a whole bunch of things about dogs when you didn't even need to answer any questions about dogs or you don't even care. So you sort of got to really make your questions relevant. The key to this is to craft good questions. So thinking about what you're trying to find out and then create opportunities for people to express these to you. So the reason I say this is not all of us will give you good feedback straight to your face. You stand there, you ask me a question, I may really like you, I may be trying to impress you, so I might think that, hey, I'm going to say that I like dogs, when in actuality, I don't like dogs at all. That's a lie, I do actually like dogs. So some people don't like writing, some people don't like talking, some don't want to hurt your feelings, so you may say, hey, what do you think of my art? And you're looking for some honest feedback because you want to improve your art, and they say, yeah, it's great, like, oh, that's not actually that helpful. Some won't answer honestly unless it's anonymous. And sometimes when you ask people anonymously, you get some pretty crazy answers. And you have to be prepared for that, and you have to just sort of absorb all of that sort of user feedback and then apply it using your adult brains or your brains. You just got to think through it a little bit more. Again, it's really important to think about like what you are trying to ask and like what is actually the best method. Like if you had a question about what food would be best at Waihe College, doing that right here at school, asking local kids is the perfect way to do that. But if you're trying to figure out an app to run some crazy new Pokemon game in multiple countries all around the world. This is a way different way of doing things. The most important thing is to ask your users, and like this is how you find out about them. Sometimes we sit here at our desks and we're like typing away on the computers and thinking about things on our phones, and we think we know what our users want. Like, actually you don't. The key is to get out there and ask them. Actually hear it from them. Get them to write something down, send you a thing, answer a survey, because that is actual tangible information. You thinking they might like pink because you think they like it is not gonna fly. So get out there, ask some questions, and then really unpack that information and roll that sort of stuff into your projects. You want to be really critical about the information you're getting from your users, and you also want to unpack that all. So you send out the survey, you get the results, you want to look at those results and go, did that actually help? What am I taking from this, and how is this going to apply to my project? All of those sorts of things can be included in the evidence for your projects moving forward, and will really help you develop some really like high level projects, outcomes. The thinking around it would be fantastic. So once again, if you don't know much about your users or you're trying to find out more about them, get out there and ask them. All right, once again, this is Mr. Cochrane signing off.